It's funny. For years, I never thought motion simulators were worth it. I went to a local arcade that has some systems from a certain B2B company, and they were always trash. They felt bad. They were fun, but they felt really bad. But after putting in about 100 hours on a couple different motion simulators, I can say this. We're at this point where the technology's gotten so good, so refined, that motion simulators are starting to bridge the gap between gaming and real racing. And I'm not just saying that, I genuinely believe that. I get on static sims and they're great. You can feel things in your hands, and with the base haptic, you can feel some vibrations, but I'm missing some feedback, and that's what I want to talk about today. Why motion simulators are not just cool gadgets, but something that's genuinely changing how people learn, train, and experience motorsport and racing. So, let me make a disclaimer. Motion is expensive. I get it. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. Static rigs can still be awesome, and there are plenty of fast people on static sims, but this negativity on motion simulators is getting kind of ridiculous. That's what I want to point out. We've all heard Max Verstappen say that motion makes you slow, or it's not as fast as static, and then the echo chamber of Max fans and other motorsports people and the negative thoughts towards motion simulators has just been echoing for what seems like years. I want to put that aside. After putting dozens of hours into a motion sim, I could say that's far from the truth. So let's start with the basics. When you drive a real car on a track, your body is constantly processing feedback. Every bump, gear shift, weight transfers, your brain takes all of those tiny sensations in and turns them into instinct. Now, when you sit in a static simulator, you see the track, you have the wheel, the pedals, but something's missing. You see what's happening, but you don't feel what's happening. And that's where motion systems come in. They fill the gaps your bodies expect. So the pitch when you brake, the roll through a fast corner, the rumble when you clip a curb. You don't need to be thrown around to feel like you're driving, but you need accurate cues that match what your brain expects from the real thing. Here's the interesting part. Most people who get into this world of sim racing aren't experts at simulators. They're people who love cars. They love racing. They want something that feels right. So when they start exploring motion simulators, yeah, there's a learning curve and sometimes a shock with how expensive they are. But just like when you get into a real car, there's going to be things that you need to get used to. So after you get used to using your eyes more and your general surroundings, there's the amazing bit with motion. There's almost this light bulb moment in your head where you're like, wow, I can actually start using the motion system to be able to go faster and have feedback and understand what's happening beneath me, just like a real car. Modern motion platforms can replicate not just general movement, but microfeedback. The sensation of the rear end getting light entering or exiting a corner, the texture of the track surface changing under you, even the weight transfers when you shift gears. It's not just movement for the sake of movement, it's motion that communicates. So let's be honest, there are a lot of companies out there making motion simulators right now. I'd say in 2025, the biggest change in sim racing was motion systems. Last year, the wow factor was the active pedal, and this year, I think it's motion. And the truth is, not all motion systems are created equal. When you start getting serious, when you're using this for a training tool, or you want something that feels truly real, even if you're not using it as training, the focus should be how smooth and accurate the system moves. A proper motion system doesn't just throw you around. It's fast and accurate. It can move a lot, but as long as it moves quickly and has the proper latency between the game and movement, it works. And when it works, it's fantastic. In my opinion, over those hours and hours of driving, the more you really test the system and make adjustments to you, the better and more feedback you can get. You can run long stints without getting fatigued because the motion feels natural. It's communicating information, not trying to impress you. Things like actuator response time, motion algorithm, stability, weight balance, these all play a massive role in how believable the experience is. Even setting up the hardware with how you place the actuators, because the closer they are together, the more pitch you can get. That is important as well. And honestly, I think that's what draws people into motion systems the most. When you drive a proper motion simulator, you start to realize how small details make a huge difference. The way the seat moves in sync with your eyes you see on screen, it's all connected. And when those details line up perfectly, it tricks your brain into believing you're actually there. That's when you stop thinking about hardware and just start driving purely on instinct. For example, I was able to put one of my fastest laps at Road Atlanta in a GT3 car on a 3DOF VeroMotion Champion GT. Not a static rig, but a motion rig. And at that, with triple 45-inch OLED monitors. Something that most sim racing enthusiasts think is completely out of this world, that you need a single screen and a static rig to be really fast. But frankly, you do not. If everything is there and is set up properly and you can make it feel instinctual, you will be fast. One of the biggest advantages that you could get is training your body to react faster and smarter. When you can feel what the car's doing, you make better inputs. You learn how to catch slides earlier, how to modulate braking more precisely, how to sense grip loss before it happens. You're not just learning visuals, you're building muscle memory. And that's something professional drivers use the simulators for. They'll practice on new circuits, run the same lines, test different setups even, all in a controlled environment that mimics the real world with incredible accuracy. And I think having that addition of motion just makes things better. And that's something professional drivers use the simulators for. They'll practice on new tracks, they'll go over lines, even test setups, all in a controlled environment that mimics the real world with incredible accuracy. And that, what I'm talking about there, is like those simulators that cost $1 million, $2 million, those multi-million dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars simulators. Now with these motion systems that are coming out, it's available for us enthusiasts or not racing teams, the pro driver who may want to sim at home, or the enthusiast who just wants something as close to the real thing as possible. Whether it's for training, for fun, or even a shared experience at home or your business, it makes you appreciate racing in a completely new way when you have a motion system. This may sound shocking to you, and if you would have played this video to me 5 years ago when I didn't think motion systems were that great, I would have also thought it's kind of crazy. But genuinely, I think going into 2026, 2027, 2028, and beyond, just the future of sim racing, motion is going to get more accessible, it's going to get better, and is the next step in order for sim racing to get to that next level. And look, whether you're stepping into this world for the first time or you're upgrading from a static setup, it's easy to overthink things. There's a lot of terminology, a lot of options, so do your research. And to plug myself, always feel free to reach out to us with any questions by giving us a call at 678-974-1190 or email us at info@boundlessracing.com. You shouldn't feel like just another order. If you've got questions, big or small, there should be someone who can walk you through it, help you understand what you're getting, and make sure it's exactly what you need. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about equipment, it's about the experience, and that starts from the first conversation, not the moment you power it on. Motion simulators are changing the game because they give us something we've always wanted, that real-world connection between what we see, what we feel, and how we drive. And I think now more than ever, this conversation is relevant because they're getting better and they're becoming more affordable. I feel like in the next few years, it's almost going to be like direct drive wheelbases, where it's going to be extremely important for sim racing setups to have motion. Once you experience it and take your time with it, once your brain starts to believe it's real, you realize how far this technology has come and how close we are to truly bridging the gap between simulation and reality. And that's the beauty of motion simulators. It's not just for professional race teams anymore with these crazy rooms with simulators. It's for anyone who wants to experience driving, not just watching. It's for anyone who wants to experience a true-to-life racing experience. A good motion simulator will show you exactly that, because once you felt it, there's really no going back.